Our next guest is the host of CNBC's popular show, Mad Money. He's also the author of 5 books, including Stay Mad for Life. And if you don't know much about our next guest, take a look at the picture on the back of the book. He's one of the most energetic people you'll ever talk to. Let's give a big old Iowa City booyah to Jim Cramer.
I'll take it where I can get it. Thank you, Alex. Whoa. This one, by the way, I should have written first. The first one I wrote was really, well, I wrote my autobiography, which was just, lawyers hated that I wrote that. But this one is the one I should have written first because, particularly where I am right now, because the people who go to the University of Iowa are people who need to learn. And the first book I wrote about the market was people to learn how you'd be at a hedge fund. Mm-hmm. And you gotta learn how to invest before you can work at a hedge fund. So I jumped the queue. Now I'm circling back.
Oh no! Even though there's even a chapter on how to stop yourself from becoming poor. A lot.
Yeah, well,
just
I mean,
a lot of topics
I
that
needed.
college students.
I needed that. Yeah, and then also remember, there's good debt and bad debt. College debt's good because it's like really low interest, so you can use it to go invest. That is, no, I don't mean take the loan and go invest with it because only a fool would do that, and that's what I did. But I mean that like don't let that be the mission to pay down. Credit card debt is at 16%. That's bad debt. College debt's good debt.
Mm-hmm. And let's talk about your show, Mad Money. Kind of, where did the idea come from? Where did the style come from? Because it's different than a lot of stuff we see on CNBC.
Well, I mean, first of all, I had a radio show for years, and it was the radio show. And if you take a look at the set, you'll see there's radio components, there's a microphone, we had all these bells and whistles. The show was successful because it didn't sound like a personal finance show. I had sound effects. I did a lot of goofy things. I had a monologue. I was trying to get, when you're dialing around, you got to get people's attention. And a lot of those same devices, I then transferred to TV because I realized they could carry over to TV. But I'm an accidental celebrity. Because remember, I was just a money manager and a dad. Mm-hmm. And then I got my own, I had this show with this guy, Kudlow. And that was about politics, and I really don't care for politics. I just don't. I'm not any good at it. I don't have any particular insight. Some economic insight. But I wanted to have my own show, and I wanted to teach people how to invest without making it painful. And I also wanted to tell the truth about what's happening. And I'm blessed with a network that allows me to tell the truth.
Also, the show, you like to take it on the road to college campuses. Kind of, where did that come from? Why do you love to come
when I started, no one wanted it. I had to go. I mean, I made a substantial donation to Harvard so they would take me. It was like a quid pro quo, I felt, but of course that's not true. And because no college wanted me, because it was perceived as being, soupy sales or, some clown that's got a show. And now we have a lot of colleges that want us, and where I go is where the people seem to want us the most. And there's 2 reasons for that. One is it's very gratifying to have people want you. And your college, your business school, uniquely wanted me more than any other place right now. More than any other place since you first, sent me the paraphernalia, which indicate where I'm going, and a fellow walking around looking like me and stuff, and just a groundswell. And that's important to me because it's gratifying. But the second is that we're a big pain in the ass. We bring like 4,000 people when we come, and we need to have it our way or the highway. And it's nice to know that if you're wanted, that when we descend, it's not like we're aliens trying to take control, but we're people who are trying to figure it out. And we know that we need the help to make it go smoothly because it's the venue to do the show, but it's a national show. So Iowa had both of those.
Mm-hmm. Any special memories from your time when you were in college at Harvard?
Well, I mean, I didn't get my diploma until after I graduated, till later. They wouldn't give it to me because I had been critical of the administration. And when I went to get my diploma in the ceremony in front of the whole school, the guy waved me off the podium and quoted something that I had said that was critical of him and the administration. And he said that he would not give me a recommendation because I wasn't worthy of it, and I didn't deserve my diploma because of my criticism. My folks were there, and it was a humiliating and embarrassing event, but it's certainly memorable.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like motivate you later in life?
Revenge, vengeance. kind of got over that about, at least like 8 or 9 weeks ago.
Of course, I got to ask you some of the things about kind of the
Sure,
traditions that we see on your show. First of all, where did Booyah come from?
That's from my radio show, a guy from New Orleans. I had a big New Orleans affiliate, and I had made a lot of money in a particular call. Subsequently, the call, I dropped the call because I had been doing it for a while, which was that the merged Kmart Sears would be a buy. The merged Kmart would be a buy, and stock doubled and then doubled and then doubled again. And the fella had done the call. I repeatedly recommended it, and he goes, I don't know what you guys say up there when you make a lot of money, but we say Booyah in Louisiana. And then, I don't know whether my soundboard operator did it or not, but like the next 4 callers said Booyah or some variation of it. And then, people made a lot of money. I mean, the radio show was very negative. When I started, it was that NASDAQ was about at 3,000, at 3,300. And I said everyone should sell every NASDAQ stock, and I just did that every day for 2 years. And the people who run the radio show were appalled that I'd be negative. But, my goal is sometimes to get people out of the market. And then I got people back in aggressively. And the callers who I made money for seemed to think that it would be fun to say Booyah. And the radio callers were the first callers over to TV because they were familiar with the show. And I did the radio show for a year, for 2 years overlap to my TV show until my vocal cords snapped. But the radio people who were familiar with me then called TV, and that's how it spread virally. It was never me that encouraged it. And if you go back to listen to the tapes, you'll say, well, it was not something that was, it was something that was organic, not planned.
Also, would you say that the tradition before the lightning round, when you throw the chair, was that organic too?
Yeah, and there I threw my back out. And I don't talk about it on the show, but, after a year of acupuncture and just every chiropractor, my general physician said to me, Jim, if it hurts every time you throw the chair, don't throw the chair. Genuine wisdom. And I stopped.
Mm-hmm. Also, let's talk about when you were younger. What was the first job that you ever had?
My first job?
Yeah.
Man, I had a lot of dead-end jobs. I don't talk about that, too, because it's very funny, because I have a new theory about it. But my first job was to stuff inserts into Sunday newspapers late Saturday night. I didn't have any social life. And they would pay a lot of money to people who were willing to give up their Saturday nights to stuff inserts. And then I kept that job and did that job after I was a waiter. The insert job was a really bad job, but the waiter job was very good. And I always try to encourage people to be a waiter because it requires you to look one-on-one, requires a tremendous amount of responsibility because, people are paying and it's their big night out, so you really have it. You play an important role even if you don't think so. And I'm very proud of that time. I think it really, of my jobs that helped me, being a waiter was the best one.
Okay, my last question for you, what's your current assessment of the market right now, and what kind of advice
Well,
are you giving to people?
if you're here, and it's one of the reasons I want to come to college, and then you've got your whole lifetime ahead of you, so you can invest in this market. It's a very perilous market, and if you use some of the methods I talk about every night on the show, which is to buy on the way down, I think you'll be fine. If you need money for a major purchase in the next 3 to 5 years, then I think it's a bad market. I have a daughter who's about to go to college, okay, and I had her money in the market, and I pulled it. I pulled the vast majority of it because it's too risky. Now, somehow this was perceived, as I did this and went on TV to talk about it, it was perceived as a radical, imprudent, panicking thing to say. And when we look back at this era, what you will hear is there was this guy named Jim Cramer, and he was afraid that he would lose his daughter's tuition, so he pulled his money out of the market, and it turned out to be a wise thing. How that has been translated into being a radical action just shows you how much bias there is to the system. Now, I want to, just because it's an entertainment show, but also because I got young people on the line who will understand what I'm about to say, because it's very counterintuitive. After I got out of school, I had a dead-end job. I was a general assignment and crime reporter at a newspaper, at the Tallahassee Democrat, for $135 a week. I did not have a care in the world. I lived on campus at Florida State. I had my own car, which I had won. I had won the Philadelphia Phillies home run payoff. Greg Luzinski hit a 2-2 pitch over the left center field wall, and I won $1,000. And I went and bought the car. And what I want to urge people, and this is why I say it's very counterintuitive, I want everyone to take a dead-end job. Get out of college and take a dead-end job and have the time of your damn life and get it over with. Get out of your system. I look back at the 2 years that I had a dead-end job where I drank hard, fooled around with women, had a dynamite time fishing, swimming, drinking hard, dancing, and I am really glad I did it. And no one else is going to give you that advice, and they're all wrong. The dead-end job was the greatest time of my life.
Thanks a lot, Jim, for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thank you.